the president and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, Mr. Stephen Waguespack, is here. We kind of talked about it in the last segment, and then it came up a little bit during the break, and I said, hold on, what's the slogan? Keep it on the radio.
Keep it on the radio.
So let's get back to that. I am fascinated by, and I'll start with this, because you sort of touched on in the last segment. Here's how things work in Texas. Here's how they do it in Texas. Maybe this is how, and I've said this forever, what does Texas do? We don't. What do we do? Texas doesn't. We ought to quit. Explain in more detail, because I am fascinated by the difference between the way government is set up in Texas as opposed to Louisiana, but to even break it down, to put a little finer point on it, where the money goes.
Right. Look, know your competition, right? That's the number one rule of any business or enterprise. And our competition's Texas, whether we like it or not. So we got to start beating them if we want to grow. And in Texas, look, let me tell you, when I talk to companies, whether they're here in Louisiana or I'm trying to recruit them here, the first thing they tell me is like, look, we're looking between you and Texas. And let me tell you the difference. They say, Wags, in Texas, we go sit down with the county executives and the local economic development officials, and we work a deal there, and we come in, and we know what we're going to get. In Louisiana, we go hire lobbyists and run to the Capitol. That is embarrassing.
Hold on.
That is embarrassing.
Let's repeat that. I apologize, but let's repeat that for everybody and say it slowly so you can understand. The power in Louisiana is based
in about 4 hallways in the Capitol. And in Texas, that's not the way it works. In Texas, the governor, look, it's a nice role, and I'm sure they've got certain duties, but they are not the kingmaker in Texas. The counties are the kingmakers. And business knows it. Everyone knows it. Working families know it. They go to the counties for solutions there.
In other words, in the state of Texas, 15, 10, 8, 6 miles that way, whatever.
As the crow flies right across the street.
Is you are dealing when you want to start a business, when you have a problem, when you're paying your taxes, is that you are in fact dealing with your friends and neighbors.
That's right. That's right. And you're going to see the local official that's using your dollars in the Walmart, at the pharmacy, at the ball field. You can hold them accountable. You can pull their elbow. In Louisiana, the people making the decisions with your money, they're on the other side of the state. You may or may not ever see them in your lifetime. How do you hold that person accountable?
How did we get like that? Give me a little history lesson.
Well, in the 20s, obviously Huey was elected, but he was one of several governors back then who consolidated all the power at the Capitol. And so that's where it's always been. The patronage, the power, all that good stuff is at the Capitol. And in 73, we had a constitutional convention, which basically put a moat and a brick wall around that consolidated power. And so now what we live with is a power that's structured in 4 hallways in the Capitol and a constitution that protects it from ever being challenged. When you say the
4 hallways, tell me what you mean.
Well, the upstairs, downstairs. The downstairs hallways between the House and the Senate, and upstairs on the 4th floor where the governor lives, that is where everything that has to happen in Louisiana flows through. And look, I live in those hallways, so I understand the value of it. And there's good people trying their best in there, but this system is bankrupt, and we have got to consolidate down to the local level and get it out of the Capitol. You can send all the good people you want to the Capitol. It's a flawed system that must be replaced.
Why would anybody, specifically if you're the governor of Louisiana, I just don't see John Bell Edwards coming out, walking out for a press conference tomorrow and going, I've been thinking about this.
I got too much power. It's time to give it back.
I've got too much juice. Despite my best intentions.
No, it's going to have to be a citizen-led movement.
Screwing stuff up.
It's going to have to be a citizen-led movement. And every now and then we have those in Louisiana. I would argue in 87 when Romer was elected, state couldn't pay its bills, there was a citizen-led movement. I would say in the days after Katrina and Rita, there was a citizen-led movement. I think we're on the verge of another one. And it might be 19, it might be the term after that. But at some point, people are going to get sick and tired of the Capitol every year just shaming and blaming everyone outside the Capitol and saying that's the only solution to anything. That dog doesn't hunt anymore. People want to have more visibility and trust in government, and I think you can only do that at the local level, not necessarily the state level.
So you're going to Margaritaville from here this morning? You got to be there at 8 o'clock, right?
Absolutely.
Damn, because we could do another half hour so easy. Is that what you're going to tell them? Or are you going to say, Louisiana's broken, I don't know I got a fix for it, but it's not coming out of Baton Rouge?
I think that the hunt for a short-term fix, look, we're going to patch it together the best we can, and we're going to be as responsible as we can. But the long-term fix, I think, has to be a convention. And if a constitutional convention has to be filled with average, everyday people running for that to be a delegate. If we just put a bunch of legislators in the convention, we're not doing ourselves any favor. We have to have average, everyday people running to be a delegate in the convention and have them put some real common sense into the new Constitution.
So in wrapping up, even though in your mind a constitutional convention is, like I said, be careful what you wish for, it certainly would be rolling the governmental dice. But in your mind, things are so broken in Louisiana, it would be worth the risk.
Absolutely.